Let's get right into it. Number 9. Pop-up ads. You're watching your favorite show when suddenly your screen gets covered with ads for hot singles in your area. You can thank one panicked programmer for that nightmare. Back in 1994, a guy named Ethan Zuckerman was working at an early web company called Tripod. They were trying to make money by putting ads next to content on their website. A major car company bought an ad on a page that celebrated a certain kind of adult content. The company freaked out about their brand being associated with it. His solution was to make the ads pop up in a separate window. That way, the ads wouldn't be directly connected to any content on the page. He thought he was solving a problem. Instead, he created something that would annoy billions of people for decades to come. Even Ethan himself later apologized for creating pop-up ads. He called it one of the most hated tools in the advertiser's toolkit. He accidentally invented a digital mosquito. We're still stuck with them. Browsers now have pop-up blockers, but advertisers keep finding new ways to make things jump out at you. Those subscribe to our newsletter boxes that slide in from the side, those auto-playing videos that follow you as you scroll, they're all just pop-up ads wearing different clothes. Number 8. The MSG Panic. It's 1968, and some guy writes a letter to the New England Journal of Medicine. He's complaining about feeling weird after eating Chinese food. The letter is super vague, saying, "My arms feel numb and my heart is racing after eating at Chinese restaurants." This tiny letter somehow turned into a full-blown panic about MSG, a food additive that's been used for over a century. Suddenly, everyone was convinced they were MSG sensitive. Chinese restaurants started putting up no MSG signs just to stay in business. The funny part is, MSG is literally everywhere. It's in tomatoes, cheese, mushrooms, and even breast milk. Your body can't tell the difference between natural MSG and the stuff added to food. It's just a combination of sodium and glutamate, which is an amino acid your body produces anyway. The whole Chinese restaurant syndrome thing was basically just racism in a lab coat. People were eating MSG in Campbell's soup, Doritos, and ranch dressing without any problems. But somehow, it was only dangerous when it came from Chinese restaurants. Scientists have done study after study trying to find evidence that MSG is harmful. They've had people eat massive amounts of the stuff. Nothing happened. But 50 years later, people are still freaking out about MSG. Companies proudly label their products MSG-free, like they've removed some kind of poison. Meanwhile, they're adding yeast extract or hydrolyzed protein, which contains exactly the same thing. Number 7. Australia's toad nightmare. It's 1935 in Australia, and sugarcane farmers are having the worst year ever. Little beetles are munching through their crops like they're at an all-you-can-eat buffet. The farmers are panicking. Someone has a brilliant idea. Bring in some cane toads from Hawaii to eat the beetles. They brought in 102 cane toads. Just 102. Sounds harmless, right? These toads took one look at the beetles up on the sugar cane and decided it was too much work. Cane toads can't hop high enough to reach the beetles, but they could reach everything else. These toads started eating Australia's native insects, lizards, and even small mammals. And they're poisonous. Anything that tries to eat them dies. Your dog could get seriously sick just from licking one. The worst part is these toads breed faster than a rabbit with an energy drink addiction. Those original 102 toads now have over 200 million descendants hopping around Australia. They now cover an area larger than France, and they're still spreading at about 40 kilometers per year. Australians have tried everything to get rid of them. Fences, traps, even toad golf. Yes, that was a real thing. Nothing works. These toads are here to stay. Number 6. Kudzu, the vine that ate the South. It's the 1930s. Soil is literally blowing away during the Dust Bowl, and everyone's panicking. Someone suggests planting this Japanese vine that grows super fast to stop the erosion. The government loved this idea so much, they paid farmers $8 per acre to plant kudzu. That's about $150 in today's money, just to plant what would become America's biggest green mistake. They didn't just suggest planting it. They went full cheerleader mode. There were kudzu clubs, kudzu queens, and even kudzu festivals. It was like if TikTok existed in the 1930s, and kudzu was the latest dance trend. Kudzu grows, and grows, and grows some more. We're talking up to a foot per day. That's like if your houseplant decided to become the Flash. Now kudzu covers over 7 million acres of the South. It swallows entire houses, cars, and trees, anything that stays still long enough. Imagine coming home from vacation to find your house looking like a giant green monster. The vine is so aggressive it can grow right through your windows. It's like nature's version of, "I'm here to talk about your car's extended warranty." The worst part is once it's there, it's nearly impossible to get rid of. The roots can grow 12 feet deep, and even a tiny piece left behind can regrow. It's like trying to delete your embarrassing photos from the internet. They just keep coming back. Number 5. The stranger danger panic. It's the 1980s. Parents are glued to their TV screens watching news reports about child abductions. Every milk carton has a missing kid's face on it, and suddenly, everyone's convinced there's a kidnapper hiding behind every bush. But it was mostly made up. The media took a few tragic cases and turned them into a full-blown national panic. They had parents thinking strangers were snatching kids left and right. Meanwhile, actual statistics showed that stranger kidnappings were incredibly rare, like winning the lottery while being struck by lightning rare. But this panic changed how we raise kids forever. Parents started keeping their kids on lockdown. No more walking to school alone. No more playing outside unsupervised. No more talking to anyone you don't know. The really messed up part is about 90% of child abuse cases involve someone the child knows. So while parents were scanning the streets for mysterious vans with free candy written on the side, they were completely missing the actual dangers closer to home. Today, we're still stuck with this paranoia. Kids can't walk 2 blocks to school without triggering an Amber Alert. Parents get reported to child services for letting their kids play in their own front yard, and everyone's convinced that any adult being nice to a kid must be up to something sketchy. We've created a generation of kids who think the world is full of monsters. This overprotection might actually be making kids less safe. They never learn to handle themselves in public or develop street smarts. So next time you see a kid with a GPS tracker, remember it all started because some TV executives in the 80s needed better ratings. Number 4. The Feral Hog Bomb. Spanish explorers in the 1500s were sailing to the Americas with no Uber Eats, no grocery stores, and definitely no refrigeration. So they brought pigs. Lots of pigs. These weren't your cute little farm piggies either. These were tough, mean European wild boars that could survive pretty much anywhere. Pigs are like walking food storage. They eat anything, breed quickly, and you can eat them whenever you need to. Some of these pigs escaped, and they made themselves at home. Fast forward to today, and we've got what scientists are calling super pigs. Imagine a 400-pound tank with tusks and the intelligence of a 3-year-old. These aren't just regular pigs that got loose. They've bred with wild boars to create a hybrid that's basically the Terminator of the pig world. They're smart. Like, scary smart. Farmers have reported these pigs learning to avoid traps after seeing other pigs get caught just once. They've even been spotted using their snouts to test electric fences for weak spots. Right now, there are somewhere between 6 and 9 million of these super pigs running wild in America. They cause about $2.5 billion in damage every year by destroying crops, tearing up lawns, and basically turning everything they touch into what looks like a battlefield. They breed so fast that we'd need to kill 70% of them every year just to keep the population from growing. That's like trying to empty the ocean with a coffee cup. Number 3. The concrete rivers of LA. Imagine taking a beautiful river and turning it into the world's longest skate park. That's basically what Los Angeles did back in the 1930s. LA had a bit of a flooding problem. The city was built on a floodplain, which is about as smart as building a campfire in a gas station. In 1938, a massive flood hit the city. The water came rushing down from the mountains, destroying everything in its path. Over 100 people died, and the damage would be worth about $1.4 billion in today's money. So the city panicked, and when cities panic, they usually do something drastic. LA's solution was to pour concrete, lots and lots of concrete. They basically turned their rivers into giant water slides. The Los Angeles River, which used to be this beautiful wild waterway, got transformed into what looks like a giant storm drain. We're talking about 51 miles of concrete channel. It stopped the flooding, but it also killed pretty much everything else. The fish disappeared. So did the birds that used to feed on those fish. The plants along the banks got buried under concrete. It's like they took a living ecosystem and replaced it with a giant concrete coffin. Now LA is spending billions trying to undo this. They're literally trying to break up the concrete and bring the river back to life. But you can't just jackhammer away 80 years of concrete and expect nature to bounce back. It's like trying to reverse a bad tattoo. It's expensive, painful, and you're never quite sure how it's going to turn out. Number 2. Sputnik and standardized testing. In 1957, the Soviets launched Sputnik. The US completely lost it. Everyone was asking how those commies beat us to space. The answer America came up with is that our schools must be terrible. Never mind that the Soviets had been working on rockets since the 1930s. American kids were just too busy watching TV and reading comic books to become rocket scientists. Congress rushed to pass the National Defense Education Act. The idea was simple. If we standardize everything and test kids constantly, we'll beat those Soviets. American education changed forever. Schools started focusing on math and science like never before, but they did it in the most panicked, rushed way possible. Everything had to be measurable. If you couldn't put it on a multiple-choice test, it wasn't important. Art classes, music, creative writing, those won't help us beat the Russians. And that's the system we're still living with. Every time you've had to memorize facts just to pass a standardized test, you can thank Sputnik. Every time your teacher has said, "I have to teach this for the test," that's the ghost of 1957 talking. We completely changed how we teach kids because of one satellite that beeped for 3 months before its batteries died. And over 60 years later, we're still teaching kids like we're in a space race emergency. Number 1. The division of Korea. It's 1945. World War II is ending. The Soviets are advancing into Korea from the north. The Allies need a plan to divide up post-war control of the Korean peninsula, and they need it fast. 2 American officers in the War Department were given the task. So they grab a National Geographic map. These 2 officers, Dean Rusk and Charles Bonesteel, had about 30 minutes to make this call. That's less time than most people spend deciding what to watch on Netflix. They picked the 38th parallel because it looked nice and neat on the map. It divided the country roughly in half, and it would keep the capital, Seoul, in the American zone. They didn't speak Korean, didn't know much about Korea's geography or culture, and definitely didn't ask any Koreans about this plan. The Soviets, to their surprise, agreed to this plan immediately. This hasty decision, meant to be a temporary military solution, hardened into a permanent political border, leading to the creation of North and South Korea, a brutal war, nuclear weapons, K-pop, and a border so tense you could bounce a quarter off it. Today, millions of families are still separated because 2 sleep-deprived officers needed to make a quick decision with a magazine map. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.